A New Beginning, Steve's First Adventure, a Reiki-Diki production. Chapter 14, Into the Nether, Again. The ruined nether portal stood exactly where Steve had first seen the mysterious traveler. Full circle, he noted, placing the final obsidian block to complete the frame. With a strike of flint and steel, purple energy swirled to life within the portal. The heat hit Steve like a wall as he stepped through. The nether's crimson haze and sulfur stench were just as unpleasant as he remembered. Lava lakes bubbled below precarious netherrack bridges. One wrong step and it's game over, he reminded himself, placing cobblestone to create safer paths. His goal was a nether fortress, the only place blazes spawned. After hours of searching and several close calls with gassed fireballs, its dark brick towers loomed ahead. Finally! Inside, the fortress was a maze of corridors and deadly drops. Wither skeletons patrolled the halls, their eerie white eyes tracking Steve's movements. One hit from those and I'm toast, he thought, sneaking past whenever possible. The blaze spawner sat in an open courtyard, floating rods of fire circling menacingly. Steve prepared his strategy. Water buckets won't work here, but snowballs might distract them. The fight was chaotic. Fireballs rained down as Steve dodged and weaved, tossing snowballs to disrupt the blaze's aim. One particularly accurate shot sent him scrambling for cover, his armor smoking. "That's gonna leave a mark!" Finally, the last blaze fell, dropping the precious rod Steve needed. Gotcha! He didn't linger. The nether wasn't a place for sightseeing. As he raced back to the portal, a ghast's mournful wail echoed through the caverns. Steve didn't look back. Chapter 15, Activating the End Portal. Back in the stronghold, Steve combined the blaze rods with ender pearls to craft the remaining eyes of Ender. Each one pulsed with energy as he placed it into the portal frame. With the final eye inserted, the portal erupted with swirling purple energy. A deep hum filled the chamber, vibrating in Steve's bones. The book's words echoed in his mind. "The end is the beginning. No turning back now," Steve whispered. He checked his gear one last time. Enchanted diamond armor, a stack of golden apples, potions of healing and strength, and his trusty bow with 24 arrows. Taking a deep breath, he stepped into the void. Chapter 16, The End and the Dragon. Steve landed on a floating island of endstone, the obsidian platform cool beneath his feet. The sky was an endless void dotted with distant stars. Before he could take it all in, an earth-shaking roar announced the dragon's arrival. The Ender Dragon was magnificent, massive black wings, glowing purple eyes, and an aura of pure power. It circled the central island where obsidian pillars stood, each topped with healing crystals. Okay, first things first, destroy the crystals, Steve reminded himself. The battle was a dance of death. Steve would climb pillars, carefully avoiding the dragon's breath attacks, shoot out crystals, then dive for cover as the enraged dragon swooped. At one point, the dragon's wing clipped him, sending Steve tumbling across the end stone. "That's gonna leave a bruise," he groaned, chugging a healing potion. When the final crystal was destroyed, the dragon landed on the central fountain, panting. "Now's my chance!" Steve rushed in, swinging his diamond sword with all his might. The dragon shrieked as the blade found its mark again and again. With one final mighty strike, the dragon reared back and exploded into a shower of purple particles and experience orbs. The fountain erupted with a beam of light, creating a new portal. I did it? Steve collapsed to his knees, exhausted but triumphant. I actually won. Chapter 17. A Hero's Return. The portal deposited Steve back in the stronghold. As he emerged into the sunlight, he barely recognized himself. His armor was battered, his clothes torn, but his eyes shone with hard-won confidence. The villagers threw a feast in his honor. Farmers brought their best crops, butchers roasted meats, and even the nitwit villagers seemed impressed. Children clamored for stories of his adventures. "Tell us about the dragon," one begged. As Steve recounted his tale with modest embellishments, he noticed a familiar figure watching from the crowd, the mysterious traveler. Their eyes met briefly before the figure vanished into smoke once more. "Guess I passed the test," Steve mused. Chapter 18. A new challenge awaits. Days later, Steve found himself restless. The dragon egg sat on his mantle, a trophy of his greatest achievement. Yet, is this it? He wondered aloud, staring at the horizon. The answer came unexpectedly. A villager approached with news of dark mansions in far forests and ocean temples guarded by elder guardians. Steve smiled as he packed his bag once more. The adventure never really ends, does it? With a final glance at his cozy home, he set off toward new challenges. Somewhere in the distance a wolf howled, as if calling him onward